light of all creation, perfection of all love. Imagine yourself every morning as you waken, that your heart is filled with that realization that you are the light of all love, of all divine creation, and that nothing else takes your attention, just the acceptance that you are the light of perfect creation, and that you're willing to revel in that truth. It isn't about understanding it. It's truly the acceptance that nothing has ever changed your divine, perfect self. To accept that reality is to accept a new life, a life of peace and harmony and joy that has no resemblance to the life of separation. To accept the light that you are has nothing to do with making a better life. It has everything to do with making and accepting your true life. A life where you're at ease, you rest without any guilt or shame of the past that holds humanity as a hostage. That there's nothing to defend, ever. There's nothing to prove, ever. And there's nothing to get, because everything is already the perfect light, the perfect innocence, the perfect reflection of love itself. This acceptance is seemingly foreign to just accept. And as you learn to accept your innocence, your beauty, your perfection, it spreads like a river that is covering all creation, a river of love. By your acceptance, the grace of God flows and touches all humanity. That is the power of your innocence and your recognition and acceptance of it. The past disappears. and only the love remains. Only the truth of every divine relationship remains. This is the power that you carry, the power of your acceptance and your choice. And love is calling you to affirm this acceptance every day, stopping whatever it is that's going on during the day and just stopping for a moment and touching in to that acceptance. And as you touch into the acceptance of your innocence, your beauty, your perfection, peace bathes your awareness. And you can't help but be grateful. Gratefulness will just spring up because the past has disappeared. No one has to worry about how the past could possibly disappear. The power of God is a power that transforms by its very nature, because love transforms. And whatever it is that you offer, including all the past, when you offer that into the hands of God, love happily transforms. That is the miracle. The miracle of love transforms. You are a necessary participant. Your yes is absolutely necessary. Your willingness is necessary. And your trust is necessary. To trust in the power of creation just a little. You aren't asked to trust with everything that you have. That's helpful, but it's not necessary. But some trust is necessary. Because when the trust is not there, in its little way that it can be there, the ego takes charge and runs the other direction, trying to protect and preserve its autonomy, its perception of control. The insanity that goes along with the perception of control is that there really is nothing to control. It's like taking your hands and trying to grab fog, grab a cloud that as soon as you put your hand there, there's really nothing there. The beauty of the spiritual journey is that you have nothing to lose by accepting that you are the light of creation and that you are innocent. You have absolutely nothing to lose except the fear that is afraid of love. No one in the spiritual journey more than likely would automatically say, yes, I am afraid of love. But every beloved has that element of fear. Walking in the world of illusion becomes so normal that fear is more acceptable than love. When you open to love, which is the truth of who you are, defenses disappear. And as your belief in the need to be defended drains away, there is a sense of being vulnerable and not having the protection that you've counted on, unconsciously mostly, but unconsciously counted on. That leap of faith to accept that you're returning home. You're returning to where you actually never left. The love that you forgot is completely intact and within you. And as you accept help, as you accept and are willing to let transformation open your heart, the courage of your yes gets stronger and stronger. It's a beautiful place every morning to accept that you are innocent, that you are the divine creation of light. And it's a beautiful place as you go to sleep to accept that you are love itself and that there is nothing to defend. As you go to sleep with the acceptance that there is nothing to defend, that acceptance, your sleep will be peaceful because the defense system will have been laid aside while you sleep. Your acceptance is the power of God. And love calls you moment to moment to just keep accepting. And as you accept the deeper truth of love, you begin to meet the deeper truth of love. The door is open, and love is inviting you constantly to return home. To bring yourself to so much of God's blessings is an act of love to yourself. It is your self-love. And it allows your heart to expand just by your acceptance. Every morning, every night, as you accept, you will begin to realize that you want to bring that acceptance and you want to be with that acceptance all day. It's like having beyond comprehension the most delicious dessert that you could ever imagine. To stop and revel in the acceptance, the realization that you are so loved, so adored, and that you never have to do anything to prove it, earn it, convince anything of it. It's reality. And the illusions start to fade away. Who would be interested in illusions when reality is so exquisite? You will eventually look at illusions and have no interest in anything other than the light and love that is and that you are. So this moment is a moment of acceptance, and every moment can be that moment of acceptance. And as you accept the truth, the reality of your brilliant being, you're affirming that the universe is all love and that you belong within the universe of love. That is your home. Affirming that there is only one presence of love, and that you are in that presence of love. You are that. Affirming in this moment that this sanctuary is filled with love, because love is all that exists, and you are that love. Affirming there is only one presence here. It is the life force of God. And in your surrender, we live and move and breathe within that life force of God as one heart. Nothing ever to lose and nothing to have to win. In the existence of love, the willingness to refuse the lies of the past, refusing. and trusting enough in the power of God that only peace exists and the rest can be watched as it disappears, having no power at all. In this moment, we ask for strength, the strength of that acceptance, the strength of trust, as we say, yes, I accept the brilliance that I am. Oh, my Father, give me strength, give me courage on this road, to be a child of yours on earth and walk the path the Master's shown. Oh, my Mother, help me love, give me comfort to be aware, to obey these sacred teachings. It was your Son who showed the way. Oh, my Master, your compassion can see through this pain, for it was you who came to earth to release us from these chains. Oh, my Father, I am yours. Give me comfort to be aware. Send your angels here to guide me on this sacred path of the sun. Oh, my Father and my Mother, who rule the world of love, send your angels to receive me through the gateway of pure love. As you ask for strength, strength is given. As you ask for light, light is given. As you accept peace, peace is given. In the past, I cried a lot and regretted all of that past. I am leaving everything that I have been yearning for in this world, and I'm going to go and live among the flowers. I'm going to go and live among the flowers with my Blessed Mother. The fears that have appeared have been a great rebellion. In this moment, I ask all beloveds to sing with love, to affirm the truth of God, to affirm the truth of our Blessed Mother, and to dispel all of these fears. I'm the child of the Blessed Mother, and I have come to recognize this power. I call the force of love itself to come and open my heart. Choro muito e lamento tudo que já se passou. Deixo tudo saudocemente, vou viver no meio das flores. Vou viver ao meio das flores, junto com a Virgem Maria. Os terrores que aparecem, essa grande rebeldia. Vamos todos, meus irmãos, vamos cantar com amor, para Deus e a Virgem Mãe nos defender desses terrores. Sou filho da Virgem Mãe, reconhece este poder. Chama força, Ele chama força para vir nos defender. Everyone has cried a lot, and everyone has held on to regrets of the belief of the illusion of the past. And everyone is being called to leave everything that has been yearned for in this world, a form, and come and live among the flowers. This is the natural journey, to come and live among the flowers. Because when you recognize that you are in the garden of love, by opening your heart undefended, you accept and you realize that, of course, you're going to be living among the flowers, because that is the natural place where you belong with all divine beings, still serving within the earth plane, but your heart living in the garden of love, your mind given back to God, and peace. Peace is what you walk in, because it's who you are. It doesn't have to be a struggle, and it doesn't have to be waiting for another lifetime. Love is here right now. I have learned so much. I have learned so much from God that I can no longer call myself a Christian, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Jew. The truth has shared so much of itself with me that I can no longer call myself a man, a woman, an angel, or even pure soul. Love has befriended me so completely it has turned to ash and freed me of every concept and image my mind has ever known. I have learned so much. There is a learning in the world that is unknown to most who haven't said yes to love. Learning is what time is for, but it isn't the learning of the world that has been the focus of within the past. I was looking at all the different forms that get used. The form of work, the form of fixing dinner, the form of school, the form of driving the car. It goes on and on and on. A form of going on vacation. And one of the temptations within the world is to attach to the form the value, believing that the value is within the form, rather than that the form is only the structure where you learn. I have learned so much from God that I can no longer call myself any of these names, these forms. And to realize that every day you have this exquisite blessing of learning. Not learning more about the world, but learning the deep teachings that are there waiting for you. While you're cooking dinner or putting dinner together, there's a learning. There's a learning of patience. There's a learning of kindness. There's a learning of offering blessings while you're putting pieces and parts together. When you're working, there are so many things to learn of blessing those that you're meeting and blessing each activity as God's. You could be working as a cleric in an office. You could be making copies. You could be writing out checks. And absolutely each element is a learning to surrender that form for love. That each element becomes an opportunity of gratitude, blessings, and peace. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter opinions about it. It's all for love. Or it's all for the past. Because those are really the two choices. There's a beautiful awareness in each situation where even after you're done with going to the grocery store or fixing dinner or taking a bath, doesn't matter what it is, that you can ask at the end of the day, what have I learned today of love? So when this beloved writes, through inspiration, I have learned so much, eventually you learn that you can no longer call yourself a Christian, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Jew, a Buddhist, because the truth has shared so much of itself with you, because you're available. And all of the identities that you've put stock in the past start to fade, because the forms are no longer the dominant element of any situation. It's quite a transformation to realize that in the past you may have thought of vacations as a respite from your everyday drudge. But vacations actually have exactly the same purpose as cooking, as grocery shopping, as anything. It's the opportunity of learning. Doesn't matter where you are. You're learning so much from God because God is speaking to you and wanting you to learn and wanting you to be graced by the blessings of every moment. I can no longer call myself a man, a woman, an angel, or even a pure soul, because they are all just form that's been attached to know something. And you're stepping beyond. Even though you're learning, you're not learning knowing. You're learning blessings. You're learning that there's nothing to hold on to of identity, because you carry the entire identity of the universe. Every star is you. The sun, the moon, the oceans, it's all you. It's not a concept. It's not a identity. It's the oneness, and it's just opening to it and not being afraid of it. At the same time, you will still chop wood and carry water, because for a while you stay on the earth plane and you chop wood, carry water. And that is the same blessing, the same exquisite truth. And it's all a learning. How do I chop wood and carry water with only love? How do I bless while I'm chopping wood and carrying water? Make me an instrument. And that beautiful instrument of God chops wood and carries water. That's why before awakening, it's chop wood, carry water. After awakening, it's chop wood, carry water, because the form doesn't change. But the awareness of the oneness with the wood, with the water, with everything is opening. And you can't distinguish anymore your true self from anything, because you don't need to. There's nothing to preserve as your identity. Love just keeps expanding. There's a prayer that I've used before. As we affirm and accept the truth of God, we accept our true name is one in God's name. In this truth, we are united with all life, one within creation and creator. What we made and call by many different names is but a shadow we tried to cast across reality of the oneness. We are grateful we were mistaken, and gladly surrender our mistaken differences to be dissolved into the truth of oneness as one heart and one life, united with all life. There's no stranger. There's no one to have to get to know. There's no one to get information from. Imagine, as God is communicating with you, you're asking someone, are you a Christian, a Muslim, or a Jew? As if that has meaning to it other than we're one love. We are the heart of God. I can no longer call myself a man, a woman, an angel, or even a pure soul, because there's nothing to distinguish from love. Imagine at one point you're going to walk down the street and your heart is going to burst with someone that is walking toward you. You don't know anything about them. And it doesn't stay as a concept, but your heart is bursting. And that love goes right to them. It goes right to them because you have met yourself in the purity of love. There are no strangers. There are no others. And there are no differences. In the purity of that love, you will remember and you will return home, even as you still live on this earth plane. But you won't see this earth plane as you did before. You will just accept the learning that is there, which is just the learning of love. It isn't a learning, when you wake up, it isn't a learning anymore as if you're still gathering information. It's all the mysteries of the universe that love shares. Not for entertainment, not for experience, but because it's the beauty of who you are. And you're just meeting different aspects of your divine self. But meanwhile, the learning is in letting go of the form as being the essential element and allowing the form to just serve the spirit of love, whatever the form is. And learning to have no opinion or preferences for different forms, meaning more, less. It's such an exquisite place. Imagine that you don't see differences between where people live, where beloveds live, or how things look, how they work out, that it's all just communion. It's all just learning. And that God is in complete love's offering. That love offering is pouring on you all the time because you are adored, because you are loved, because you are love itself. There's nothing to compare and nothing to distinguish one element from another other than its beauty. As you walk among the flowers, you may see different flowers, but you're not judging the flowers for their worth by what you think of them anymore. They're all just love. That's your heart. That's your heart that is completely able to to just love. Thank you, darling. There's a beautiful teaching, a beautiful learning that completely helps this teaching, which is that in no situation do you realize the outcome that will open you to happiness. Whatever the situation is that you're in, all that love is asking you to do is to be open and not have any idea of what the outcome has to be. That when you put every situation into the hands of God, including the form, including everything, it will bring you to a learning and a place of peace and happiness, because the learning is so exquisite. I remember when I was still called to work in a job, a regular job, and one of the lessons that I was given to learn, that became learning every day, was that as I would write checks to be mailed, that I would spend that whole time writing checks, blessing everyone that I was sending a check to. And that it was sincere. It wasn't just an exercise. It was the sincerity of the heart, that I truly wanted to bless and have and use that moment to send blessings to each beloved. The contrast was that before that, I still had to write checks, but every check I wrote was filled with fear. Every check that I wrote was a curse, that I cursed the beloved that I was sending it to. Irritated that I had to send them a check. The check stayed the same. The form of the check was exactly the same. The desk that I wrote on was exactly the same. The chair that I sat in was exactly the same. The clothes that I wore were exactly the same. But everything that I was learning was blessed through my intention and the calling to use it only for blessings. Was there resistance to writing the checks and blessing the beloved that I was sending the check to? Sometimes there was great resistance. Resentment would come up. Fear would come up, of course. Even anger would come up. But it all came up for healing and for release, and to accept and affirm that what I truly wanted was to remember love. And that was one of the ways that I was called to remember love. Nobody around me knew that I was blessing each beloved. I wasn't like making a statement. Hey, everybody, I'm in my spiritual practice over here, blessing everyone. No, it was that quiet place within that was learning so much and realizing that the Holy Spirit of love could use everything, and that I could join in that use of everything to be the learning of love. Every phone call that I made was a conscious offering of love. Every beloved that I spoke to on the phone, even the ones that were on an order desk that by the tone of their voice said, I don't really want to be talking to you. And making that leap of faith to offer love, to ignore the form of the voice and to offer that love to that calling for love. That the spiritual practice was as strong and as profound in the everyday form of going to work as it was in meditating and being in prayer and my own time. It was all the same. It was every single form was a place of learning. The form was not the key, it was the intention of using time, using the calling to be at that workplace to truly learn to love. Learning to love beloveds who lived in the house next door that didn't want to be neighborly. They didn't have to be neighborly. I was there to learn to love. Didn't matter what anybody else was believing or doing. I was called to love. And this is no different than anybody's journey. It's just the awareness. The awareness that says, I have learned so much. And how could this beloved have learned so much that he could no longer call himself a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew, a Buddhist? Because the truth has shared so much of itself with me. And when you give yourself to that love, whether it's writing checks, it doesn't matter what it is. Love is sharing itself with you. It isn't tedious to bless as you're writing every check. It's tedious to be in fear while you're writing checks and cursing out of fear. That's tedious. That's painful. Blessing everyone as you write checks is glorious. It's the opening of your heart without a special exercise of breathing or anything. It's just blessing and offering. At first, there's a lot of resistance because the habits are powerful and determined. But eventually, it becomes the joy of the day. It becomes the gift. Driving a car, blessing each beloved that you pass, takes focus. It's easy to just go into the trance and listen to the music or listen to something that is somebody talking, but you can be blessing every beloved as they pass or as you pass them. Blessing every beloved that's on the side of the road. Blessing every beloved who's in every house that you're passing on the road. Not blessing them like you have something to give that they don't already have, but blessing meaning that you are recognizing they are your beloved. You don't know who's in that house by name, by what they do, how long they've been in Oregon or whatever, but you just bless them. because it opens your heart and because you begin to recognize they're all you. And then it becomes painful to be in the car and not bless. There was a beloved who said to me that they were driving like a 5-hour trip, and that it was so hard because they just kept thinking about how long it was. They were stuck in the form of the distance, believing that the distance was a difficulty and a burden. If you are in the moment, in joy, with thoughts of God, with love for those in your life, for the appreciation of all, the trip isn't a burden. Being present is the form that you're right here, right now, in the car. You're not in being at the end. You're just right here and in love. The journey is so simple. If you don't hook into the form of it and think that the form is the answer. Some may not want to get to a place where they no longer call themselves a man or a woman or an angel or a pure soul. But this is not a disparity on the form that you came in with. This is a realization that this form will fall away and that you have been a man, a woman in many lifetimes. And you're now going past that identity and truly accepting you're the light of God. Blessing each one. But that means also, as you're blessing, you don't have time to believe that people owe you something. There's a beautiful teaching that affirms, you owe me to behave as I want you to behave. We've all carried that. I want you to behave as I want you to behave so that I like it, rather than it doesn't mean anything. It only means something if I give it meaning. Behavior is the form that means nothing other than as an indicator, as a cry for love. That's its only indicator, a call for love. When I was in a job, I would have clients that would, in the past, I would see them as demanding. In the truth of love, I didn't see that demand anymore. I saw it as a call for love. And how could I love these beloveds when they were there thinking that they were in a business, being given business information of some kind, when I was just hearing the call for love? That's the learning that the Holy Spirit brings. That the Holy Spirit will teach you how to answer that call for love and never have to change the form. I never told anyone, I'm in my spiritual practice, you'll have to excuse me because I'm hearing a call for love from you instead of what you're really asking for. They didn't know but there was all this love. It was the temple that looked like a business office. The temple is wherever you are, whether it's inside an actual structure or you're outside, you're in the temple and you're there to love. Nothing else. Nothing else. It's about letting go of attachments of what is known in this world and truly allowing your attachments to just fall away through the grace of God. We were talking about pets the other day. So to meet each being that's in a body of an animal and blessing that beloved, but also that they are not a creature that is less. They are the light of God. And opening that communion and really saying hello and having that inner communication that's all blessing with everything. You are never alone. That doesn't mean that there isn't solitude, but when you're walking outside, all of the living truth of God is in every tree, in every blade of grass, in everything. And it's all for your communion. It's not that the blade of grass is the truth, because it will fall away. It's like the body. But there is a divine being that is in all the grass and all the trees and it's all divine beings, open to everything that is love. Meet it. And don't get hooked on the form that it comes in. You can appreciate the form that it comes in, but go beyond the form and meet the divine. Commune with the divine. It's you. It's you in reflection. And there's nothing missing. Love has befriended me so completely it has turned to ash and freed me. That's the power of love. It will free you, and it will turn everything to ash that was in the way and let you be free. This prayer is again the place of acceptance as we affirm and accept the truth of God in every moment. We accept our true name is one in God's name. You wake up in the morning, I am the light and the creation of God. In this truth, we are united with all life, one within creation and creator. What we made and call by many different names and many different forms is but a shadow we tried to cast across reality of oneness. We are grateful we were mistaken and gladly surrender our mistaken differences to be dissolved into the truth of oneness as one heart. one love, one life.